Hey, what's up YouTube? Luso here, Team D Plus Gaming, here to give you my Heraldic Beast deck profile. We went to the Des Moines Regional today, and I ended up topping with this. I got 21st, so I got my Nationals invite with this deck, and I mean, it's been a lot of fun to play. I kind of put it together last minute, and I went for a fun day. I mean, first off, you have triple Heraldic Beast Leo. So this is kind of your main guy. You try to open him, and if you do it, you probably have game. This guy just searches everything. Like, when he enters the graveyard, you take and you get to search a Heraldic Beast besides Leo from deck to hand. And he's a 2000 beater. Plus, I mean, like, if you normal summon him, then he's destroyed during the end phase, so you get the search off. Plus the fact that since he is just since it enters grave, you get the effect, you can detach him from an XYZ material, or as an XYZ material, and then you get the search off of him as well, which is just really good. Next up, triple Heraldic Beast Aberconway. So if you have two Aberconway in grave, you can banish one to target a Heraldic Beast in graveyard and add that to your hand. That effect wasn't too useful. More or less, this is an 1800 beater, plus it's wind. Next up, two Twin-Headed Eagle. So this is another one of the really kind of crucial Heraldic Beast monsters. It's not great in attack, minus 1200 attack, but it's a wind, and so I mean this is what allows you to go into Chidori between Aberconway and Eagle and things. Also, when this is in grave, you can banish it to target an XYZ you control with no materials, and then add two Heraldic Beast monsters from grave as materials. And so this lets you keep reusing your monsters. Since this is a rank 4 spam, I mean that's just really good to keep being able to use the XYZs you've already made. The next up, to round out the Heraldic Beast monsters, two Heraldic Beast Basilisks. And so this card, after damage calculation, you destroy any opponent's monster that attacked this card. And so I mean you can just take and set this, your opponent runs into it, and then they lose their monster, and they really aren't expecting this. And so that's just 10 Heraldic Beast monsters. Then to round out the monsters altogether, running triple Kage to Kage. It helps with the rank 4 engine. And so it's 13 monsters. Next, going into the spells. First off, Advanced Heraldry Art. Like, this is the card that makes the deck really so broken. So what this does is you take and you target two Heraldic Beast monsters in grave, you special summon them, and then you immediately XYZ over them. And so top decking this is essentially top decking a rank 4 of your choice from your extra deck. And so like that's just really good. This can help turn the tide of a lot of duels. And the only bad thing is like you get like two of those stuck in opening hand, and then you don't draw any monsters, you can be dead. But I mean it's still worth running 3 of them. Next up, running 2 Heraldry Reborn. It's a monster reborn for Heraldic Beast monsters. To me, 2 was enough. I mean, again, 5 spells that you have to have a graveyard set up to use, but they're just really overpowered once you start using them and utilizing them. Next up, 3 Duality, just for searching, being able to dig further into your deck, especially first turn. I liked having 3. I mean, I could see cutting it to 2, but I mean, just that extra searchability is fine, and it's really good. Not being able to special summon is fine for a turn, because you do run a lot of back row. Next up, a Foolish Burial, just to get Leo in grave. So essentially gives you 4 chances to draw Leo opening turn. As you get the search, and you get, off of him. You get Foolish him, get the search off. Really good. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, I mean just general back row hate. Book of Moon, Dark Hole, Staples. Next up, 2 Call of the Haunted. Just because it's chainable, you can chain this, grab your Leo from grave, and get a search off of it when your opponent MSTs it. I mean, you just keep maintaining hand advantage with the deck, which is why it's really good. Plus, you can take and just bring back a dead XYZ with it, and then banish your Twin-Headed Eagle, give that XYZ 2 materials, so it's completely live again. And your opponent's then struggling for answers. And so this just added a lot to the deck. 1 XYZ Reborn, I didn't pull it off, I just had it there just in case. I mean, you can't hurt to grab your XYZ back, especially when you're making, at times, 2 to 3 XYZs a turn. I mean, just, it's really hard for your opponent to keep up with it, especially when you bring one back like that. Next up, main decking 2 Mind Crush. Just because right now in the meta, there's so many things that search. I mean, Mind Crush wasn't too live, but I mean, if your opponent goes tanky, search Wolf Bark, you can just, okay, Mind Crush Wolf Bark, and then they don't have that anymore. And I mean, their one turn XYZs are kind of gone in Fire Fist. I mean, there's, again, just a lot of matchups where that's a really good card. I mean, Mermails make them discard cards, make them use their salvages on your terms as opposed to their own. Next up, Regeki Break. Again, it's chainable. It's a discard outlet in case you have a dead Kage or a Leo in hand. Divine Wrath, again, it's kind of the same thing. This is really good in the Bujin matchup, just because like end phase Yamato changes or activates its effect, and you go chain Divine Wrath. They can't chain anything to stop that, really. So I mean, they lose their Yamato from it. Next up, Two Fiendish Chain. Again, just a general effect negation. I was making a full house. I mean, just because you have your Fiendish Chains called the Haunteds, that can get stuck face up. Plus, I mean, Fire Fist is still around. Although, I mean, I don't know, I didn't draw into this at all. But I will probably cut that going forward. Next up, Two-Dimensional Prisons. It gets around Stardust, gets around Maestro, gets around Arc. Your opponent attacks into it thinking they're safe. Oh, I've got a Stardust, I'm fine. Deprison, they lose their Stardust. I mean, again, it's really a good card to have. Bottomless, Torrential, and Solemn. And that's 41 cards in the main deck. Not quite your typical 40, but it was effective. So next up, going to the extra deck. Cowboy, Abyss Dweller, Lavolval Chain. I mean, Cowboy went into for a couple of games just to end things. I never made Abyss Dweller today. Lavolval Chain you have just so you can take in Foolish your Leo, in case you don't open a way to get him into grave. So you can use Lavolval Chain to Foolish Leo and then get the search off of it. Next up, Maestro. This kind of was one of the MVPs of the deck today. Just because you can take and keep using Twin-Headed Eagle, keep giving him back materials, and just keep poking at your opponent for it. Blowing through whatever back row they have, and you can use him to bait out all their mirror forces and things, and so that was really good. Next up, Exciton. It's a really good card, although I only used him in 2 of the matchups today. I mean, just there wasn't really an ideal time to use this, especially with Heraldic Beasts, for the simple fact that you're gaining hand advantage so fast that you almost all the time have more cards than your opponent unless you use this like really early game. If your opponent like dedicates a lot of resources to the field, then you can go Exciton, but there's only 2 matchups where I needed him. Lightning Chidori, just a really good card. I had experience using Chidori from Heartbeats, and so I knew I needed to keep this in there, especially running Winds. So I mean, when it's summoned, you get to set or target a set card your opponent controls, put it on the bottom of their deck, then detach to bounce a face-up card they control to the top of the deck, and then then they'll draw that, and then you can Mind Crush it away. And so it's really good in that respect. Next up, 2 Diamond Direwolf. Again, this is an XYZ spam deck, especially rank 4. I mean, so you can just take and make Diamond Direwolf to pop your problems, kind of like the way Infernities do. I mean, also, if you're really getting into things, I mean, you also have Beasts and Wing Beasts main decked to tribute with him, but I mean, I always just go Diamond Dire and then have it pop itself to destroy some of your opponent controls. Black Ship of Corn. This was the other MVP of the extra deck, really. Due to the simple fact that there's so many people making these inmates today, I don't really understand what was up with that. But instead, okay, Black Ship of Corn it away, burn for the 1,000. Silent Honor's Arc. Steal special summon monsters your opponent have in attack position. One of my opponents actually made Arc on me. They didn't realize that it had to be in attack position, so I had a Maestro in defense position. They made Arc trying to get rid of it, and then I only had the Maestro in defense position, so I just had to leave the Arc there. And so now I was able to make my Arc and steal theirs. And that's kind of the main thing, was just kind of Arc wars today. Pappy, put things in attack position. And pretty self-explanatory, went into him quite a few times. And the King of the Feral Imps. Now this is the best card in your extra deck that you have arsenal-wise. Because if you open Heraldic Beast Leo and Kage to Kage, you go into King of the Feral Imps, you probably win that game. For the simple fact that you go make King of the Feral Imps, like you summon Leo, chain Kage, make King of the Feral Imps. Then you detach Leo, you search a Kage off of him, and then you get your search off Leo, so you have your play for next turn. And then if your opponent can't handle the 2300 attack and he stays on the field, then you have a second Kage to just keep setting up with plays after that. Next up, Heraldic King Genome Heritage. It's the one Heraldic XYZ I decided, I had my extra deck. I made him once just for the 2400 attack. I mean, other than that, I didn't go into him. Crazy Box in case I sided in my Shadow Mirror or run across a skill drain deck. It never happened. And then Evil Swarm Ouroboros, again, in case you're running. I mean, I had 3 on field I needed to XYZ with. Was never useful. Next, moving on to the side deck. Monsters, 1 Swift Scarecrow, 2 Max C. I mean, I sided those in. I had these for mainly Karakuri Geargia because there was a lot of people playing that today. Swift Scarecrow prevents the OTK. Max C helps you draw off of it. I didn't really draw any of those once I sided them in. Book of Eclipse for Bujin's Noble Knights. Just one of those. We had the extra slot. Didn't show up when I was playing. The third MST was crucial. Twister was great against Mermails and Fire Fist. Next up, 2 Trap Hole. This was actually a really useful card. Was able to Trap Hole Temperance and Prophecy. Trap Hold a Geargia Armor. Just a lot of things I caught with Trap Hole that no one was expecting. It was a lot of fun. Third Fiendish Chain for Effect Negation. 1 Shadow Mirror, 2 Light Mirror, and 2 Blackhorn. Again, I never saw Blackhorn or the mirrors when I sided them in, so it was not too beneficial to have, but I mean, I was glad that I had the option. Just because there are other matchups, like say the mirror match, Blackhorn of Heaven is golden there, or any deck that likes to synchro a lot. So overall, the deck went 7 wins, 2 losses. I lost to Mermails in Game 3, and I lost to X-Sabers in Game 3. So I lost 2 off the bat, and I was able to win out the rest of the tournament. But yeah, so this is my Heraldic Beast deck profile, guys. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and put those in the comments below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Team D+ Gaming signing out.